All right, the first thing I'm gonna do is cut the end of the leggings off so that the hem is gone. We don't need those, we'll put those aside. And then I'm going to cut right at about just below the bottom of the crotch part where it starts to widen out above that. Okay, I'll be able to get 4 masks out of this length here. So I'm gonna fold this in half so that they're about the same. Just makes less cutting, makes it go faster. So now I have 4 pieces that I'll make a mask out of. 2 like that and 2 like that. Next, I need to make some tie straps. So I'm going to cut the waistband off. Okay, cut the waistband off of the rest of it. And then I'm going to cut strips out of this. So I'm going to go about 1 inch or so. Maybe a little bit less, doesn't need to be too wide. If you're using leggings, then it should, when you pull it, I'll show you, it will roll into a tube. So here's an example of a ring that I cut off a pair, and then I cut the seam out of it so that I had a strip. And then I took the strip and pulled it, and it rolls into a tube, and then I just knotted the end of it. So that's what I'm going to do with these. The more you stretch it, it just goes into a longer tube. On some of the other ones I've made, I cut extra out of the legging here and used that for the tie, and that was plenty long enough for my kids, and I could make it work for me. It was a little bit short, but I'm making these for my husband, so I want the straps to be longer, so I'm using the waistband piece. I don't worry about making sure that the cuts are straight or anything, because you're not going to notice the edges when they're done, so I just do it to be fast. Stretch it out. And then I'm going to put a knot in the end. A knot in each end. Okay. Now I'm going to be able to make 4, so I need 2 straps for each one. So I'm going to need 8 straps, 8 strings to be able to tie. So I'm going to keep cutting away. Until I have the straps that I need. I'm going to move forward just to show you guys. So then I take the straps that I have and I insert them in. And then I put one at the top, and I usually try to find the seam and put it up there, and shake the other one to the bottom. Make sure that you have There you go, one on each. And I get my needle and thread, very little sewing for this. So you're going to come up close to here and just insert your needle and thread close to the edge. You don't want to sew this into it. You just want to get close. You want it to be able to move back and forth. Let's get my scissors out of there. Just go back and forth a couple of times. You won't see any of this once it's gathered, so it makes it really easy. I found this to be a lot easier than the other things I saw online. So now I'm just going to go in and I'm going to go back and forth about every ½ inch or so that I can gather it. I poke my finger all the time, be careful. When you get to the end, tighten your string, your thread, so that it's gathered, and then make a couple stitches in the end, and then knot your thread off. I like to go through my loop a couple of times so that it makes a nice strong knot. Snip it off. Tie a knot in the end of your thread. I use double thread so that it will hold better, it'll be stronger. And I'm going to do the same thing at the other end. So I start with the side with the seam. I locate my tie. Got my scissors again. Okay, that, now I'm going to go back and forth every ½ inch, okay? Just to create a gather. The material from your leggings should not fray, so you don't have to worry about it, and you don't have to finish the edge. The stitches back and forth will hold just fine. Okay, I've got it gathered. I'll go back and forth with a couple stitches at the end to make it stronger. Just be careful not to stitch your tie into your stitching. So as I said, you want it to be able to slide through. We knot the ends so that it won't pull through, hopefully. You could obviously just sew the ties on if you wanted. I'm just trying to make it as easy as possible with as little sewing as possible. And voila, it's done. Now, if you wanted to be able to insert a filter, you would cut a small slit and then you would be able to anywhere inside, and you could insert a filter or a paper towel that they're recommending inside. However, we have some masks that we happen to have, one for each of us, so we're going to reuse these. So I can wear my mask that is designed to filter viruses and other things. And then I can put this over it. Now I made these a little bit bigger to go over my husband's mask. This one's a little bit smaller for me. So I can just cover my mask, protect it, and then I can go ahead and tie it behind my head. Not bad, huh? Happy sewing.